Hello and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Sona Maria and I'm the manager of Study Abroad Consultancy Services at Emilo Global. And I'm very pleased to be your host for today. Today's webinar is on Dentist Professional Immigration to Canada. Today we have with us Mrs. Sindhamol Johnpuruch, a Canadian licensed immigration lawyer based in Ottawa, Canada. She received a master's in law from Oakwood Hall Law School in Toronto, Canada, with a specialization in human rights and disability law. She received another master's in labor studies from McMaster University in Hamilton. Later, she completed the Juris Doctor professional degree in law and received the certificate of qualification from the Federation of Law Societies of Canada. She also qualified the law practice program at Racine University. She qualified the barrister and solicitor examinations conducted by the Law Society of Ontario, and she was called to the Bar of Ontario. She is the founding director of Imilo Immigration Law Professional Corporation in Canada. I would like to invite ma'am to speak a few words.
Thank you, Sona. I appreciate your kind and generous introduction. It's great to be speaking with you all today. I believe I have got a wonderful audience here, comprising the dental surgeons who wish to immigrate to or study in Canada. I sincerely hope you are doing well. I wish to start by congratulating you for being frontline workers in fighting with the COVID pandemic situation that we have been faced with. We all understand that it would take a bit longer to go back to normal. We need to adapt to new types of habits and new technologies to cope up with the unusual pandemic situation. There is a wonderful adage that April showers bring May flowers. This is really a period of discomfort, and we hope this can provide the basis for a period of happiness and joy. Again, today's session explains you three areas of immigration process. Firstly, what are the Canadian immigration options for dental surgeons? Secondly, you will get insights on licensing procedure for dental surgeons in Canada. And finally, you will get to know about the study options for dental surgeons in Canada. Many thanks to D1 for organizing this interactive session. Great. Thank you everyone for being here. I welcome you all to this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Many thanks to D1 for helping us organize this webinar. D1 is also known as One Dentistry, which is a career-focused dental community. This was started by three enthusiastic dentists, that is, Dr. Ujish, Dr. Nishad, and Dr. Faiz in 2015. D1 released two mobile apps on career guidance and Gulf examination preparations in 2017. An idea of alternative methods to help dentists get career advancement guidance and contacts through a single platform came to being a great success now. D1 is also associated with many market-leading companies to provide the best and trustworthy services to the dental community. Also, today we have with us Ms. Grishma, the immigration attorney at Imilo Global. She will be speaking about the immigration prospects in Canada after the study program and the general PR possibilities. The webinar is divided into three segments. In the first segment, we shall have Grishma addressing the PR possibilities, and in the second segment, we shall have the study part, and in the third segment, we will have the question answer session to address your queries in detail. Over to you, Grishma.
Thank you very much, Sona. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be addressing all of you today. Before I proceed with today's session, I most sincerely hope that everyone is safe and sound and is doing okay. In today's session, I shall be discussing a few topics ranging from the various immigration pathways that are available to dentist professionals in order to immigrate to Canada. The second one, the various licensing and registration requirements that are essential to practice as a dentist or in related professions in Canada. And lastly, why you should be hiring an immigration lawyer in order to file your application process. Moving on to the first topic, that are the various immigration pathways that are available to dentist professionals in order to immigrate to Canada and further obtain a PR there. You primarily have three options or pathways. They are the Federal Express Entry Program under the Federal Skilled Worker Program. Second one, the Provincial Nomination Program. And lastly, the Pilot Program. As mentioned earlier, the first pathway is the Federal Express Entry Program under the Federal Skilled Worker Program category. This, I must say, is one of the most commonly utilized platforms to immigrate to Canada, especially by people who are currently in India and are working and they wish to immigrate to Canada. There are various eligibility requirements to be eligible for this program, and if you meet these eligibility requirements, you can put in your application, and based on the scores that you receive for the factors mentioned on screen, you will be receiving an invitation to apply for the program. The factors are, first one, age. Say 23 to 35 would be an ideal age group to immigrate to Canada. Second, your previous education. Thirdly, your work experience. It is extremely important to note that minimum 1 year of work experience is required to be eligible for this program. Next is your English language proficiency, that is your IELTS examination score. Then if you have a job offer from Canada. And lastly, adaptability, that is how well you're likely to settle or adapt into the society of Canada. The next pathway that is available to you is the Provincial Nomination Program. Like we have states in India, Canada has about 10 provinces, and each of these provinces have their own specific provincial nomination program, and there are various eligibility requirements for the same. The criteria or the selection factors might be similar to that of the Federal Express Entry Program, but the eligibility requirement or the score that you need to score may vary according to various provinces. Talking about dental professionals in particular or specifically, there are a couple of provinces which are popular for dental professionals, and they are British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario. The last pathway that is available to you is called the pilot programs. There are several pilot programs running in Canada based on the needs of a particular community or particular society. One such pilot program is pretty prominent among other pilot programs, and it is called the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program. So if you're an international student studying in the Atlantic provinces of Canada, there is one particular sub-pilot program under the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, which is specifically made for you, and it is called the Atlantic International Graduate Program. Speaking about Atlantic Canada, why is Atlantic Canada the best immigration and study destination in Canada? And there are various reasons for the same. Atlantic Canada comprises of 4 provinces in the Atlantic region of Canada, such as Nova Scotia, Newfoundland and Labrador, Prince Edward Island, and New Brunswick. There are various reasons for the prominence of this particular region of Canada is because that this region has some of the world-renowned universities offering a wide array of courses in almost every field. The age is not a primary factor when it comes to application for higher education. Say, if you are about 30 years of age up to 32, you are still eligible to apply for the institutions there. It is also some of the cheapest provinces in Canada, and hence the cost of living in these provinces are extremely low compared to the mainland Canada. These provinces are also some of the easiest provinces to get your permanent residence application approved in a much faster rate. Atlantic Canada currently faces a shortage for dental and related professionals, especially in the two provinces of Newfoundland and Labrador and Nova Scotia. There is an increasing demand for these professions, and which is exactly why this particular region is specifically made for dental professionals. Moving on to the second part of the seminar, that is the credential recognition, licensure, and licensure for internationally trained dentists and other related fields. Now, when you're looking at licensure for dentists, this is a term that we'll come across pretty commonly. That is internationally trained dentist. Who is an internationally trained dentist? If your dental training was received outside of either Canada, USA, or Australia, you will be called an internationally trained dentist. Now, what is the difference between the training received in USA, Canada, and Australia and other parts of the country, other parts of the world? Canada, USA, and Australia has a mutually recognized system of dental training, or a mutually accredited system of dental training. And if you graduate from an institution in one of these three countries, and if your course or if your institution has been recognized by the Commission on Dental Accreditation of Canada, then you would be graduates of accredited dental program. The licensing procedure would be much easier, and this would be your procedure. The first thing is that you need to create an application through the NDEB portal, that is the National Dental Examination Board of Canada portal. Once you create your application, you move on to register for your examination. There are two examinations. The first one is the written examination, and the second one is their objective structured clinical examination. Once you complete your NDEB examination, you can submit proof of your graduation, that is your transcripts, or if you have marks indicating the date of the convocation. And the last process is your certification and then your license to practice. Moving on to the second group of graduates, that is the graduate of non-accredited dental program, also the graduates or internationally trained dentists. So in our situation, most programs within India, BDS or MDS, fall under the non-accredited dental program category. Hence, we have to follow a different set of pathway or a different pathway or option to obtain licensure in Canada. There are two options available. The first one is you need to undertake a qualifying degree program. So once you complete the qualifying degree program, you can take that pathway, or the second pathway that is available to you is the equivalency process, which is stipulated by the National Dental Examination Board of Canada. Qualifying or degree completion program is a 2-year program, and the idea behind that is to make yourself familiarized to make international graduates familiarized to the dentistry and dental practices which is prevalent in Canada. You're eligible to take the NDEB examination, certification examination, once you have completed your qualifying program. And this qualifying program is offered by very few universities, and it holds on for a duration of 2 years. Initially, you're supposed to get into the NDEB platform. You can take an assessment, self-assessment, fundamental knowledge assessment test, and the test results will be shared with all these universities which are offering this qualifying program, and based on that, you will be eligible to apply for this particular program. The universities that are offering the qualifying program are University of Alberta, University of Manitoba, University of Western Ontario, University of Toronto, in the province of Quebec, McGill University and University of Montreal, and in the Atlantic Canadian province is Dalhousie University, which is in Nova Scotia. Now, moving on to our second pathway that is available for licensure, that is the equivalency process, which is stipulated by the National Dental Examination Board of Canada. This particular equivalency process is a 3-stage or a 3-assessment process, and any person who successfully completes the 3-assessment process can sit for the final NDEB examination and get your certification from the National Dental Examination Board. If you look at this the chart which is in front of you, the color, the center one, the color given in the color orange would be stipulating the equivalency process for the second pathway. That is, once you take the assessment of fundamental knowledge examination, you move on to the second stage, that is the assessment of clinical judgment or ACT stage. Along with that, you also take an assessment of clinical skills examination. This is the three-way assessment process, equivalency process. And once you complete this process, you move on to the National Dental Examination Board written examination and the objective structured clinical examination. Once you have completed the same, you can further move ahead to the National Dental Examination Board certification and further to the provincial licensure. It is extremely important to note that in almost every provinces, Canada requires you to be licensed with the dental regulatory authority in that particular province or territory that you wish to work or practice in. So there are various additional requirements that you will have to meet on top of your NDEB certification. That is, you will have to show proof of your language score or obtain certain practical working hours or character reference. So say if you're immigrating from India or any other part of the world, you'll have to show or submit something called as a certificate of standing from your current jurisdiction. In our case, if you're practicing in Kerala, you'll have to submit a current certificate of standing from Kerala or other parts that you have worked in. It is another important factor to keep in mind when it comes to licensure requirements for provincial authorities is that most provinces require you to have a PR or citizenship to work or apply for the licensure, or you also require a work permit, a valid work permit from the immigration authority to apply in order to apply for a license. Moving on to the other option, licensure option, is the dental hygienist licensure options. Dental hygienist is an alternative profession which is usually preferred by a lot of people who immigrate to Canada as dentists. Even though it is an alternative career option, it is extremely important to note that dental hygienist is also a regulated profession in Canada and you require a licensing or a certificate of registration to work. If you do not possess the same, it will be illegal to work. In most situations, you require a degree in accredited dental hygiene program in addition to your already existing dentistry degree. There are three types of certification that are available to practice as dental hygienist. The first one is the general certification. This applies to all the dental hygienists. Whoever is registering as dental hygienist will fall under this category. And further, if you wish to specialize or if you do an accredited course in the same, you will receive a specialty certificate. And the last one is an inactive certificate. That is, if you're discontinuing your practice, then you will receive you will be eligible for this particular certificate, and then you're not permitted to work as a dental hygienist. There is also a similar registration process for dental hygienist, and some of the documents that you have to submit are pretty similar to that of dentist. The first one is you have to submit a certificate of professional conduct from every area or every jurisdiction that you have already practiced or have a professional certificate from. The second one is that you need to be a Canadian citizen, or you need to have a PR, or you need to have a valid work permit to apply for the licensure. The last one is you need to complete a successful clinical refresher course, and this is only if you have studied and you have taken a break from practicing as a dental hygienist, or if you have taken a long break, then you'll have to undergo a clinical refresher course. There are different type of assessment examination for dental hygienists as well. The two types are this written certification exam and a clinical procedure. It is extremely important to note that there are only 3 attempts, and for you to acquire the certificate, you need to undergo the exam and pass it within the 3 attempts. Makes us Emilo Global unique. We are India's first foreign immigration law firm. We are also India's first study abroad consultancy that is completely run by Canadian immigration lawyers. All our study counselors are trained and supervised by the Canadian immigration lawyers and Canadian higher education professionals. The services that we offer are not only with respect to visa and immigration process, we also offer post-landing services. That is, most people who immigrate to Canada, once they are in Canada, face a lot of issues with respect to tenancy matters, with respect to filing your tax return, applying for your Canadian ID cards, opening up a bank account. We offer you all the services. You can contact our respective branches for this. Thank you for your patient listening. I now hand over the session to Sona to discuss the study programs.
Thank you, Grishma, for that informative session. Now let us move on to the study programs for the dentist. The International Dentist Advanced Placement Program. This program is intended for graduates of non-accredited dental programs and is offered by the University of Toronto. This gains you the entry into the third year of DDS program. You should have completed a minimum 4-year university dental program that is not recognized by the Commission of Dental Accreditation of Canada. You need to maintain a CGPA of 3 out of 4, and now also you need to be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident in order to apply in this category. The international students are not eligible to apply here. The course options for international dentists include the Master of Health Sciences offered by Lakehead University. This is a 2-year program and you require good academic standing, that is 70% or above. Also, you require an overall of 6.5 in your IELTS. The Master of Science in Health Sciences offered by the University of Northern British Columbia is a very impressive program. This is a 2-year program and it requires only 65% in your bachelor's and 6.5 in your IELTS. This program has only one intake and that is a September intake, so it is a high demand program. The Graduate Certificate in Healthcare Leadership program is an 8-month program and you require a degree in healthcare field with an overall of 7.5 in your IELTS. You may be eligible to apply to this course. The Graduate Certificate in Healthcare Management offered by the Northern College in Ontario requires a low standing, that is 50% in your bachelor's and overall of 6.5 in your IELTS. The Graduate Certificate in Occupational Health, Safety and Wellness offered by Conestoga College is an interesting program and requires 6.5 in your IELTS and you should have completed a 3-year bachelor's with 60%. The next is the most impressive Post-Diploma in Public Health program offered by Cape Breton University. This requires a very low standing, that is 55% in your bachelor's and only 6.5 in your IELTS. And since this program is offered in Nova Scotia, which is in the Atlantic Canada region, the PR possibilities are comparatively high. The next is the Diploma in Dental Technology Sciences offered by Vancouver Community College is a 2-year diploma program and you require 60% with an overall of 6.5 in your IELTS. The Diploma in Dental Hygiene program offered by the Vancouver Community College is again a 2-year program and you require only 60% and 6.5 in your IELTS. The next is the Diploma in Dental Assisting offered by George Brown College, which is most common among the international students, is a high-standing program and you require 60% and is highly competitive. Now, let us move on to the career options for the dentist. A few good career options for the dentist in Canada are dentist, denturist, dental assistant, technical sales specialist, dental hygienist. Dentist. They are employed in hospitals, clinics, clinics, public health facilities, and practices also. The annual median salary for the dentist is $1.4 and it requires licensing occupation as well. Dental assistants. No certification is required. The job training would be sufficient for the first level of dental assistants. For the level 2 dental assistants, licensing and certifications may be required. Some provinces prescribe mandatory coursework as well. The hourly wage for this category is $24 per hour. Dental technician, NOC 3223. A dental technician makes and repairs dental devices such as crowns and bridges, dentures, orthodontics, etc. This category requires a graduation from a dental technician education program or at least 5 years of experience under a dental technician, and the median wage for this category is $25 per hour. The completion of college program for the dental technology or 4 more years of job training would be regulated, and the registration with the provincial territory can be sufficient for this category. The dental laboratory benchmark. The dental laboratory bench workers are also known as dental technician's assistant. You require to work under the supervision of registered dental technician. You should have graduated from 12th or equivalent, and the median wage for this category is $25 per hour. Technical sales specialist. You require a 4-year college or university program in a relevant field. Experience or sales or in technical occupation related to the dentistry field may be required. Medium salary is again $25 per hour. Talking about the dentist profession in Canada, the expected salary for this occupation varies from $1,00,000 to $2,40,000 Canadian dollars annually. Saskatchewan offers the highest hourly median wage, that is 96 Canadian dollars per hour, and the lowest wage will not be less than $38 per hour in any province. The wage and employment prospects for Canadians, that is the dentists, are very high in Canada, and the demand for the dentists is expected to increase over the years. Currently, over 21,000 dentists are employed in Canada. This comes to the end of the second session. Now let us move on to the third segment, that is a question and answer segment. I invite ma'am and Grishma to join us for the final segment. Over to you, Grishma.
What is the average time taken to complete the immigration process?
Okay, the average time to get immigration done or get a permanent residence in Canada depends on your profile. Like, you can apply for permanent residence in two ways. Once you can move to Canada as a student, later on after gaining the Canadian education and work experience, you can apply for permanent residence with the federal government or with the provincial nomination. And in the second category, you can apply from outside Canada through the federal express entry programs or provincial nomination programs. So the timeline or the processing time for the PR application depends on your profile. If you are applying through the federal express entry program, the process may take up to 1.5 years approximately. Generally, it takes 1.5 years. That's it. And if you are moving as a student to Canada and then you are trying to get permanent residence in Canada, it depends on your profile, and it may take up to 3 to 4 years. Suppose if you are a candidate and you have work experience back home, then the processing time or the time you take to get a permanent residence in Canada will be comparatively less when we compare it to the options for a student, those who are coming to Canada for studies without any experience back home. So it purely depends on your profile. And for like federal immigration program, applying outside Canada, the normal processing time would take like the whole processing, including your express entry. I believe you know that the express entry profile creation is the first step in the immigration process. Then after that, you have to get an ITA to apply for permanent residence. So including both the steps, the total procedure would take around 1.5 years. And again, it depends on your profile. And then for the students, those who are coming to Canada for studies and those who are trying to get permanent residence after studies, it may take up to 3 to 4 years. Thank you, Grishma.
Thank you very much, ma'am. The next question is study related. It is to Sona. What are the courses that are available for BDS graduates in Canada for higher studies?
Thank you, Grishma. Thank you for the question. For the students who have completed their BDS program, you have courses like two types of courses. One is the courses related to diploma programs, and the other one is a master's program. To be very frank, Canada doesn't offer a large number of courses. So for a BDS student, he or she can opt for a master's in health service management or health administrator program. This is one option, and the other option would be the diploma programs. That is, as we saw earlier, we have dental technicians, dental assistance program, and dental hygienist program, everything. So if you are someone who would like to go on with the same field programs that is related to your dental field, you should have a justification like why you are choosing a course that is below your qualification. So that is the only thing that is needed. If not, if you wish to do a master's in health service program, you have another opportunity with that as well. You can proceed with this program, and side by side you can start preparing for your licensing. As Grishma said earlier, you can start preparing for your licensing, and side by side you can take up the examinations as well. So these are the options for you in Canada. Thank you, Grishma.
Thank you, Sona. Next question is to ma'am. IELTS is an important factor in the Canadian immigration process, especially for dentists. What would you think is the right score for the IELTS process? Like, how much do you think they should be scoring for the immigration process?
Thank you, Grishma. As I told you earlier, there are 6 factors that are counted to get like comprehensive ranking system points for your immigration purpose. And IELTS, I would say IELTS is the most relevant factor that completely controls your immigration process because like uh, like if you score CLB 9 with a with a degree in dentistry from India, and if you have 1 to 3 years of experience, definitely you will get a permanent residence in Canada when we think in terms of the comprehensive ranking system. So, like in order to like when we think about the IELTS score, uh, we have to think about 2 aspects. First, in order to apply for permanent residence, you need to meet the minimum requirement eligibility. And for the CRS ranking system, the IELTS score is different. Like the points for the IELTS is different when we compare it with the like the Federal Express Entry eligibility and comprehensive ranking system. So as like for dental surgeons, those who have done ECA and secured a master's degree equivalency or a first professional degree equivalency in Canada, and if you have 3 years of experience, like you may be eligible to create an express entry profile with an average IELTS score of 6.5, but it won't guarantee you an ITA for permanent residence. So in order to get an ITA for permanent residence, the preferred score would be CLB 9, that's listening's age, and for all the other 3 bands, you must score at least 7 in each band. So that's the like the preferred score when we if you want to make your immigration possible for sure, then you have to score CLB 9 equivalency. If you are not able to do that, like if you are not able to score that much in language proficiency test, the next option for you is to try for provincial nomination or to choose a study program to enter into Canada, and from there you can try to get permanent residence. So the like this IELTS score purely depends. The eligibility IELTS score purely depends on your profile. But in order to get an ITA through the comprehensive ranking system under the Federal Express Entry, you must need an IELTS that is equivalent to CLB 9. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you very much, ma'am. In relation with the IELTS question, what are there any differences between the IELTS that you have to take when you're applying for your study program or when you're applying for the immigration program, or is it the same IELTS that you'll have to take?
Thank you, Grishma. So for the study purpose, you need to take IELTS academic version, and for the immigration purpose, you need to take IELTS general version. So if you are like planning to move to Canada for study purposes, first you have to give the IELTS academic version. So after completing your studies and gaining enough work experience in Canada, and for the immigration purpose, you need to take the test again in general version. Thank you.
Very much, ma'am. Next question is to Sona. It is related to higher studies in terms of management. So do you think there are any courses in management a BDS graduate can take after reaching Canada?
Thank you, Grishma. Definitely, there are courses that BDS graduates can choose. There are some students who wish to pursue an MBA in hospital management or MBA in management after their BDS program. Yes, you certainly can do these programs. The only case is that you just have to have the justification of why do you want to deviate from your field. And if you like want to choose courses related to management, I would suggest you to go for courses such as health service management or health administrator related courses. So these are related to management, and the application process or to get through the courses, the admission process is way more simpler than that. Thank you, Grishma.
Thank you, Sona. The next question is to ma'am. Do you think the licensing process for dentists in Canada is expensive? It's a very interesting question. How much do you think it would cost, like, in a ballpark, approximately?
Thank you, Grishma. That's a very good question. So, as you all know, dental degree in dental surgery from India is not an accredited program in Canada. So, in order to get license, you have to go through tedious licensing processing. Definitely, the licensing procedure for dentists are expensive in Canada. I think you have already aware with the two options, like first to do a qualifying program with the university, and second one to do the NDEB assessment, equivalency assessment, and give the NDEB examination. So, if you are choosing the first option to take a program in a recognized university to get licensed in Canada, that's really costly. So the program cost would be around like from $90,000 to $140,000. So it's really expensive, I would say. And when you compare the first option with the second option to give the NDEB licensing examination, that's the cheaper option. So for the NDEB assessment, you have to, as a first step, you have to pay like $7,000 for the assessment, and for each exams, for the practical and theoretical exams, and for the primary skill assessment exams, you need to pay $2,000 for each. So the cost would like, I would say that the cost purely depends on the number of chances you are taking in qualifying the exams. So definitely, if you can get through the exams in the first chance, definitely your cost will be lesser. When you like, but normally NDEB gives 3 chances for a person to give examination. Sometimes people has to take like 3 chances to get through the exam because it's very tough. So if you are getting through in a single chance, that's fine. Your cost will be lesser, and otherwise you have to meet the cost for the like each time you have to pay the examination fee. So it would depend upon the number of chances you are taking.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Next question is an interesting question by Nivashini. This is to Sona. It is study related. So she has just graduated from BDS and she's planning to study in Canada. Are there any 16-month courses or any courses that you would like to suggest for her?
Thank you for the question, Nishadini. So you have courses, like you have 16-month courses, but I would suggest you to take courses that is of a 1 year duration with comes along with the co-op programs if you wish, or it is better always when you go for a 2 year program so that you get a postgraduate work permit of 3 years. If not, if you're like specific about going for a course that is like less than 16 months or one year program, I would suggest you to go for courses which offers co-op program. Co-op means it may be paid or an unpaid internship. Most cases it would be paid. So doing this program in Canada, like after you study, you go for a field practice program. So once you do this internship, there are chances that you may be hired by the same company. If at all, if you're not getting hired, you have Canadian experience. That is, you are Canadian trained, so that the possibilities of getting a job after completing this program is way more higher when compared to the others who have not completed this program. So this is what I would like to suggest for you. Also, you have options like you can do masters or you can do a postgraduate diploma program in public health, and you have masters in health service management programs. So I need to know more about your profile, Nivashini, so that I would be able to suggest a perfect course for you. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you, Sona. Next question is to ma'am. So say if I'm immigrating to Canada for my higher education and I already have work experience in India, will this work experience be counted for my immigration purpose further?
Definitely your experience back home will be counted towards your permanent resident, like in calculating your CRS score for the Federal Express Entry program and also for the provincial nomination program. Also your experience back home would be counted towards like work experience. So it's better, like I would say, like if you are immigrating to Canada for higher education, it's better if you have at least 1 year of work experience back home. So considering like the profile of a dental surgeon or a dentist, like when you will get the equivalency assessment of a first professional degree or a master's degree in Canada, then if you have with like 1 year of work experience back home with a Canadian education plus 1 year of work experience itself, you will get through the Federal Express Center. You will meet the CRS cutoff if you have minimum 1 year of work experience back home. Otherwise, you need to wait until you gain more years of work experience, for example 2 or 3, in order to get through the federal program. So if you are applying for the provincial nomination program, the picture is different. You may need to minimum of 6 to 1 year of work experience in the concerned provinces you are applying for. So it's better to immigrate to Canada or to move to Canada with a minimum of 1 year, with a minimum 1 year of work experience back home, it will give you like more options when we think in terms of permanent residence. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Furthering on the same question, do you think it's more appropriate, or which would give me more options to apply as a fresh graduate or after having work experience?
Grishma, could you please clarify the question? Is this related to study or is this related to immigration?
Which would be which would be better for my career needs as a dentist if I'm applying as a graduate, a fresh graduate, or for the immigration purpose?
So we have to see this question in different aspects. It depends on your like future plans. If you would like to get licensed in Canada as a dentist, purely it's like I would say you need to qualify the NDEB assessment exams and you need to get licensed with the concerned province to practice as a dentist. So in that case, like your work experience back home would not help you that much because you are going through an entirely different licensing process. But definitely for the immigration purpose, if you are thinking about immigration, you need to, as I said earlier, you need to have minimum 1 to 3 years of work experience. Otherwise, if you are moving to Canada after your like graduation and you are doing a postgraduate program in Canada, and then if you want to work as a dentist, you need to go through the licensing process. So the option would preferably, I would say the best option for you would preferably depends on your career goals. Thank you, Grishma.
Thank you very much, ma'am. The next question is to Sona. We've heard a lot about scholarship opportunities in Canada. Can you briefly explain what are the scholarship opportunities available in Canada? And also, what do you mean by the term bursaries? Because it's very frequently spoken about when you're talking about higher education in Canada.
Thank you, Grishma. This is a very interesting question. So Canada offers wide range of scholarships. Like there are hundreds of scholarships available for the international students. So one such is scholarships and the other one is bursaries. So let me tell the difference between the both. There are two types of scholarships that you can apply other than bursaries. One is the scholarship when you one scholarship is like before you land in Canada or when you make your application process to the university or college. Will be applying to the scholarship. This requires very good academic standing, like 80% or above in your previous education, and good academics, and you need to have good volunteering experience, all those things. This is what one scholarship is about. And the second type of scholarship would be after landing in Canada, like after you complete the one semester of your course, you can apply for scholarships by showing your academic excellence. This is the second one. And the third one is the bursaries, as you said. It is very common when you look into the education in Canada. So this is a need-based scholarship, and if you are not having any academic excellence or if you are not having any volunteering experience, yet you can apply for this scholarship, this bursaries, because it is totally need-based, and they offer this on such a way so that the international students are benefited out of it. So this is the difference between scholarships and bursaries. Any student who would like to study in Canada can definitely apply for bursaries if they are not eligible for scholarships. Thank you.
Thank you, Sona. There's a question by Dhwani. I think ma'am would be the right person to address it. Can I get a Canadian PR living in India on the basis of just experience? I've heard people getting PR in just 6 to 8 months sitting in India. Ma'am, what are your thoughts on this?
Thank you, Dhwani. Thank you for the question. Definitely, you can get a permanent residence in Canada while applying for a permanent residence from India. So, as we have seen in the presentation or the session before, you have like Federal Express Entry programs to immigrate to Canada, through which you can complete the immigration process in 6 to 8 months. As we have seen earlier, there are 6 factors which would assess your profile, and then you have to you have to meet the minimum cutoff, comprehensive ranking system cutoff score to get an invitation. So if you are a person like with 1 to 3 years of experience with good language proficiency, then you would by good language proficiency I mean CLB 9. Then definitely you can finish the federal immigration application process in 6 to 8 months while in India itself. Thank you, Denny.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question is also to ma'am. It is related to ECA process. Could you explain further about the ECA process and what would be a good ECA process for the dentist professionals?
ECA means Educational Credential Assessment for the generally applicants who file an immigration application do their ECA Educational Credential Assessment to get points for their education in the comprehensive ranking system. There are more than 5 regulated agencies in Canada which do educational credential assessment for international education. I would say World Education Services would be like a preferable one because they are less expensive and the processing time with them is also less comparing to other agencies like IQAS and ICAS. Definitely doing an ECA assessment, educational credential assessment with World Education Service is more than enough for a person with a degree in dental surgery. So I would suggest like WES as a preferable option because they process the application in 3 to 4 months with less fees. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question is study related to Sona. It is by Alicia. What about MPH? Is it possible to get a seat right after BDS programs?
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you for the question. MPH is Masters in Public Health. It is simple to get seats for these courses, but there are 2 types of public health programs. One is a second bachelor's in public health, and the other one is a master's in public health. In order to apply for a master's in public health, the application process is a bit tedious. You need to have very good academic standing to apply to this program. This is offered by some very good universities like University of Regina and University of Saskatchewan. So you can apply to these universities if you have very good academics, and if you are having like moderate academics, you can apply for a second bachelor's in Canada. Second bachelor's is more valuable because since you have 1 bachelor's here, many students would have it. Why do I need to study another bachelor's in Canada? Either you can do a second bachelor's or a post diploma program, that is a PG diploma program. So doing this program, it is offered in universities like Cape Breton universities, and since it comes in the Atlantic Canada region, again as ma'am and Grishma said earlier, the PR possibilities in these regions are high. So I would suggest you to go for a second bachelor's or a PG diploma program than going to a master's. But if you're very specific about your career path, like doing a master's and PhD, if you're very specific about that, you can definitely choose a master's in public health program. Thank you. Thank you, Grishma.
Thank you, Sona. Next question is by Tavrin. It is to ma'am. Is age a factor when getting a job and immigration?
Thank you for the question. Age is a factor in when we consider immigration. I won't say that age would be a factor when we think about your career option, but definitely for the immigration purposes. And for sure, if you are thinking about the Federal Express Entry program, most of you, I hope most of you would be aware that in the comprehensive ranking system, out of 600 points that are allocated your personal factors, 100 points goes to your age. So like age is a factor to get your immigration done, but for the career options, I would say no. Like if you are like if you have a good career background, definitely you will get better career options in Canada. But for immigration, I would say like from age 23 to 34 would be fine. After 34, your chances would be less. Even we think about provincial nomination also. It would be fine if you can start your immigration before, like if you can complete your immigration before you are 32 or 33, even if you are trying for the provincial nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next is a study-related question by Parth. Is it possible to get admission to Masters in Dental Hygienist after BDS with just 2 to 3 years of experience? Sona, the question is for you.
Thank you, Grishma. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question, Parth. It is definitely easy to get an admission into Masters in Dental Hygienist. You just have to see to that you have a very good academics in order to apply to this course, because it requires 75% in your bachelor's with no backlogs, and it is mandatory for you to have at least 1 year of experience to apply to this program. And this is offered by very good universities such as University of British Columbia and University of Toronto. So in order to apply to that program, since they don't have people only applying from India, we have people apply from all around the world. So the admission is a bit competitive over there, so that you should be specific and you should always have a backup when you apply to such universities. Thank you, Grishma.
The next question is also study related by Tavrin. It's to you, Sona. Which is the easiest, the second bachelor or a diploma program?
Thank you, Tavrin. And the question is specific. Is it easier for the second bachelor's or a diploma program? So I would suggest you to go for the second bachelor program because when you go for a diploma program, again, you have completed a BDS degree, and which is a bachelor's professional degree. And again, you have to have the justification like why are you choosing a bachelor program? Why are you choosing a diploma program instead of a PG program? So if you have the justification, like you have certain change in your curriculum and you have something else to justify with that, you can certainly choose a diploma program. But then the acceptance rate by the visa acceptance rate depends. So I would suggest you to go for a second bachelor's. Some second bachelor's offers courses like the which you haven't studied in India, like some courses related to dentistry which you haven't studied in India. You can do that in Canada. So you obviously have a justification over there when you apply for a second bachelor's. So in my suggestion, I would suggest you to go for a second bachelor's. If at all you have a justification like why you're choosing a diploma program, then yes, you can go for a diploma program as well. And the question was specific, which is easier. I would say diploma is easier, but for the admission process. But again, for the visa process, it depends.
Thank you, Sona. Next question is to ma'am. Ma'am, do you think dentistry as a profession has a demand in Canada? And which provinces do you think has a good demand for the dentistry jobs or dentistry related jobs?
Thank you, Grishma. Definitely, dentistry as a profession is highly designated. It's a designated profession and it's a reputed profession in Canada. I think the most preferable option or the most advisable option for the dentist is to practice themselves, considering employed with some other with the government department or with the hospitals. So like most of the provinces offers good salary packages for dentists. Like in Canada, the salary is on hourly basis. So when we think about like the hourly wages for dentists, it comes around like in Saskatchewan you may get around 89, and in other provinces it depends. Even in every provinces of Canada, profession of a dentist is highly reputed and it's highly demanded. I would say there is no such like no specific provinces that dentists can choose or prefer, because in Canada everywhere your profession is accepted and it's dignified. Thank you, Grishma.
Thank you, ma'am. This question is an interesting question, and this is for the both of you. Which institution or which province do you think is the best province to study in Canada? Or which region of Canada do you aim for when you're going for studies as well as for immigration? Both ma'am and Sona.
Okay, so thank you, Grishma. When you think about like immigration, choosing a study pathway, you need to keep 2-3 points in your mind. First, you have to choose a better course for you. Next, in terms of choosing a province, I would say that you must understand like the provincial nomination options for the provinces you are aiming at or you are going to. So if you are a person with no work experience back home, the better option for you to apply through a provincial nomination program in order to secure a permanent residence. So in that case, you have to consider the immigration options in a province before you are getting admitted into a college or a university. So like the option would depends on your choice, like your profile, your choice, and like you have to understand what is your career goal. Like while you choosing a program, you have to be very clear about your career pathway and then choose a program. In addition to that, keep in mind the immigration options related with that province. Thinking in terms of university or college that can be like rated or like that can be preferred. Like I would say, if you are going for a study program, if you are looking for a study program to immigrate to Canada, like you can give preference to the immigration options first. I won't say that like one college or university is better than the other one. In Canada, the education system is well maintained and well administered. So almost all the universities and colleges keep a minimum standard. So it won't count much if you are thinking more about immigration. So choose a study program with a university or a college in a province that helps you to get permanent residence in Canada. Thank you. Sona, you can add on to this.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. As you said, the PR possibilities, the best institution to study is like we have many universities and colleges like which comes very above in QS ranking. So again, as ma'am said, it would be better if you could focus on your career path. Like if you're someone who would like to pursue a PhD, then you would like it would be better for you to choose some very good universities. Or if you're someone who is looking for job and then PR, I would suggest you to go to some good colleges or universities. As ma'am said, the easiest path would be the Atlantic region. So that would I would suggest you to go to these provinces, which is easier for you to get a PR. So I would suggest students to go in that way. Thank you, Grishma.
Thank you, ma'am and Sona. I think that clearly explains or defines the answers for this particular question. The next question is to ma'am. It is related to, so if you are studying in Canada, the work experience that you gain along with your studies, the part-time work experience, do you think that would be helpful for the immigration? Can we add on to that for our immigration process?
Generally, the work experience that you gain while you are studying in Canada is not counted towards your work experience for permanent residence. But there are provinces like Saskatchewan that counts your work experience in while you are studying. If it's related with your study, like an internship or a co program, Saskatchewan counts that towards their provincial nomination application. Generally, the answer is no. Your work experience. The work experience you gain while you are studying in Canada is not counted towards your work experience, Canadian work experience for immigration purposes. Thank you, Grishma.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, how much time do you think it would take to convert into immigration or to apply for a PR after you have studied in Canada, after completion of your study? What is the timeline like?
Again, it depends on your profile. Like if you are a person with 1 or 2 years experience back home, you can definitely apply for permanent residence within 1 year of completing your studies in Canada and gaining 1 year of minimum work experience. So you may be eligible to apply for permanent residence after 6 months of work experience if you are applying for through a provincial nomination program. It purely depends upon the provincial regulations. So I would say like it may take around 1 to 2 years. Generally, it depends. Like purely, it depends on the profile of the candidate. Those who are applying for the immigration process. Thank you, Grishma.
Thank you, ma'am. I see we have a lot of questions. We will be taking 2 more questions since we have time restraints. The other questions are extremely specific and will be addressed if you personally contact us through any of the numbers that are shown on the screen. The next question is with respect to the NDEB, National Dental Examination Board Assessment Exam. Ma'am, do you think we can take the exam while we are in India? Can we take the exam while we are in India?
Definitely no. Like NDB exams are not conducted in India. But if you are planning to immigrate to Canada and you would like to get licensed as a dentist in Canada, you can start your like licensing processing, like the equivalency assessment process while you are in India. Once your equivalency get assessed, you can give the examinations in Canada. Right now, NDB is not giving any, or they haven't allowed any examination centers in India. Thank you, Grishma.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, what do you think are the alternative career options available for dentists?
Dentists have like alternative career options such as dental hygienist, dental assistant. That I think that would be the two other options. And in order to work as a dental hygienist, you need to complete an accredited program. And if your dental degree, like the dental degree from outside Canada, um, like is composed of dental hygienist curriculum, curriculum or like syllabus, then you can assess your dental surgery from outside, dental degree from outside Canada for dental hygienist assessment with the concerned body if they accredit your program. Like if they are giving equivalency for your dental degree as like as an accredited program in dental hygienist, then you can give the equivalency assessment exams with the board, and then you can get licensed in Canada. And in terms of dental assistant, you don't need to get licensed to work as a dental assistant in level 1. But if you want to like improve, like upgrade your career into level 2 dental assistant, then you need to give licensing examinations. Thank you,
ma'am.
Grishma.
With this, we move on to the last question for today. That is, ma'am, could you please explain to us what are the more about? Could you tell us more about the Atlantic provinces of Canada and the immigration possibilities for the same?
Definitely, Grishma. Right now, Atlantic immigration. Right now, Atlantic provinces have introduced Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, which is running for the next 3 years. So this program offers more immigration options through provincial nomination program more immigration options through through these programs. Suppose if you are a student who is moving to Canada for a study purpose, and if you are studying in Atlantic provinces such as Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEA, and so on, then you will have two options to apply for permanent residence. I would say three options. First one is the Federal Express Entry program. If you are not getting through that, you can rely on the Atlantic pilot program. There is in Atlantic pilot program, international graduates with a full-time job offer can apply for provincial nomination even without work experience. And all these provinces have their general provincial nomination programs also. So your chances are many, like I would say three. When you are thinking about studying in Atlantic provinces, you can get through the Federal Express Entry, if not possible, even without a work experience, and even with a full-time 1 year work job offer letter with no work experience, you can apply through the APP program. And definitely you can try the provincial nomination programs of each provinces once you gain like 6 months to 1 year of work experience in the relevant field. Thank you, Grishma.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, Sona. Both of you all have provided so much information and covered almost every topic and all the questions. We have so many questions coming in, and sadly, we have a time restraint that we have to maintain. And some of these questions are extremely specific, and we would need more information from your end to address these issues. So kindly contact us on the numbers provided on the screen. Sona, could you briefly explain to them her web form submission process and how it works so that they'll get a fair idea about the whole process?
Thank you, Grishma. And since the questions are very specific, as Grishma said, we offer free counseling and free admission assistance as well. So regarding the web form submission procedures, initially you will be given a web form to submit. This is just to assess your profile, because certain students or certain graduates, they may be eligible for PR, but they would be looking for a study program. So what we'll do is we'll just assess your profile, and in immigration's case, it would be assessed by a immigration attorney or a Canadian lawyer in such a way to see which program is very suitable for you, either it is Express Entry or PNP. And if these programs doesn't suit you, and you'll be sent to the study department. For the study students who would like to pursue education in Canada or any country, we would check your profile, assess your profile in terms of your education, age, and your IELTS requirement if you have IELTS. If not, there's a different procedure for the other thing. So your profile would be assessed, and depending on your profile, we would suggest courses for you. For some students, you'll have to choose masters, and for some students, you'll have to choose PG diploma. So based on your profile, we would suggest the courses for you, and you would be given a one-on-one counseling through online, so that you can know more about your profile and your opportunities in Canada. And in studies case, you can know about your visa possibilities, and in immigration's case, you'll be able to know like what is your CRS or how you are going to reach Canada through the immigration program. So this is about the web form, and once you submit the form, we will be able to give you more information about on your case specifically. So this is all about it. So thank you, Grishma. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, Sona has clarified it. Summing it up, once you provide us your web form based on your profile, we would suggest, based on your profile and based on your clear expectation, we would look into whether it's a study program or an immigration program. And likewise, the profile would be assessed, and we would be giving you consultations. And if you further wish to talk to a Canadian immigration lawyer, that is Mrs. Sindhu ma'am, we would be allowing you to talk to her or have a consultation with her as well. So you all have been an extremely good audience. Now I hand over the session to Sona for the concluding remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Grishma. Thank you all for attending the webinar today. I hope it was an informative one. I once again thank D1 from our side for helping us organize this webinar, and you guys have been very cooperative, and the questions are, the questions are very good, and it would be great if you could contact us so that we can give you better advices. if you get, it would be great if you could contact the numbers given here. So I hope it is done for today. Thank you, Grishma. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. Once again, I thank Devan for helping us. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Grishma.
Thank you all.